Hey, listen up. What if I told you that the world's biggest atheist gathering isn't happening in London, New York or Berlin, but right here in India? And not just anywhere in India, in God's own country. An atheist meet. That too, the world's biggest one in God's own country. That is the irony and the beauty of it. On 19th October 2025, the Rajiv Gandhi Indoor Stadium in Kochi will host Litmus 2025, the largest festival of Freethought, reason and humanism on the planet. But make no mistake, Litmus is not just a conference. It is not a seminar with polite lectures and lukewarm tea. It is a phenomenon. It's a place where superstition gets dismantled, where questions are celebrated, not silenced, where ideas take center stage instead of gods. Litmus is not just about debates, talks or awards. It is about you. It's about all of us. It's about building a community that refuses to kneel, refuses to be silenced, and refuses to let superstitions and pseudoscience shape our future. If you have ever wanted to be part of something bigger than yourself, something that could shift not only your perspective, but the way our society thinks, this is it. Litmus isn't just an event you attend. It is a memory you carry with you for the rest of your life. Behind Litmus is esSENSE Global, a non-profit movement born in Kerala with one clinical mission: to nurture scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry. In a country where government peddle miracle water and politics feeds on faith and pseudoscience lurks on every second reel, esSENSE chose to walk the hard road. Unlike groups that soften their identity as rationalists, esSENSE wears the atheist badge openly, proudly, and without apology. Unapologetically atheist. We question all religions equally. We bow to no ideology. We put evidence above authority. Our vision is simple but bold. Fact-based politics, evidence-based medicine, and a humanism-based society. In our own words, we should make religious places more secular, secular places more irreligious, and irreligious spaces more deeply humanist. That vision gave birth to Litmus, the annual festival of Freethought and atheism. Back in 2018, the team expected maybe 300 people at the first event in Trivandrum. Instead, the registrations crossed 1,000. The crowd was so huge, they had to shift from a small auditorium to the sprawling Nisha Gandhi amphitheater. By the end of the day, nearly 3,000 people had shown up. The next year in Kozhikode, it got even bigger. So big, in fact, that the fire department had to stop people at the gates because the hall was overflowing. Imagine 1,500 people being turned away because the crowd inside had already exceeded capacity. That is when everyone realized Litmus wasn't just an event anymore. It was a phenomenon. Then came the pandemic. For 2 long years, Litmus was forced into silence. But in 2022, it returned with a big bang, filling Kochi's Rajiv Gandhi Indoor Stadium to the brim with nearly 10,000 people. I still remember sitting on stage, looking at that sea of people, feeling the electricity in the air. I wasn't scared. I was impressed. It wasn't just an audience. It was a movement breathing in unison. The following years in Thiruvananthapuram and Kozhikode faced weather hurdles, but even then, the halls filled with thousands braving heavy rains just to be part of this celebration of reason. And now, in 2025, Litmus is back in Kochi, stronger than ever, with registrations already on Godspeed, having entered into the thousands and climbing. If history is any clue, this will be the biggest Litmus yet. Every Litmus is memorable, but this year something extraordinary is happening. Something that sets Litmus 2025 apart from every edition before it. For the very first time, Litmus will have a guest of honor. And not just any guest. That honor goes to Taslima Nasrin, the writer, the exile, the fighter. Taslima isn't just a literary figure. She's a living symbol of defiance against religious fanaticism. Trained as a doctor, her true scalpel had always been her words. In the 1990s, her groundbreaking novel Lajja ripped open the silence around communal violence in Bangladesh. That one book exposed truth so raw that extremists issued fatwas against her. They hounded her, threatened her life, and eventually forced her into exile. For over 30 years now, she has lived without a homeland, barred from returning to Bangladesh, unable to even see her parents when they died. And yet, she never stopped writing, never stopped speaking, never stopped fighting. From one country to another, her voice carried across borders, banned in some places, but celebrated in others. She became a global beacon for secularism, feminism, and human rights. Think about this. Every day of her life for 3 decades has been lived with the shadow of danger. Yet, she stands tall. That is what courage looks like. And this year, esSENSE Global will honor her with the Lifetime Achievement Award, recognition of her relentless fight for truth and freedom. She deserves more global recognition for her bravery, maybe even the Nobel Peace Prize. Perhaps this will be the starting point of it. Who knows? But here is where it gets even more powerful. The award will be presented by Professor T.J. Joseph. If you live in Kerala, you probably know his story. A quiet academic, Joseph became the target of violent Islamic extremists for nothing more than a single harmless question he set in an exam. That's it, a question in a paper. And for that, his hand was chopped off in a brutal attack by radical Islamists. The violence left him scarred, physically and emotionally, but it never broke his spirit. He still continues to face the world bravely and speak against religious intolerance, just like Taslima. Now imagine this moment on stage. Taslima Nasrin, who has lived 3 decades of exile for daring to write the truth, being honored by Professor Joseph, who lost his hand for a name in a question paper. 2 lives, 2 battles, 2 survivors of intolerance meeting in solidarity at Litmus 2025. That is why we say Litmus isn't just another event. It is a stage where history breathes. And when Taslima receives that award from Professor Joseph, it won't just be applauses. It will be a standing ovation for resilience, for courage, and for the unbroken spirit of human freedom. That is not just an award ceremony. It is history being written on stage. If there is anything you shouldn't miss in this Litmus, it should be this moment, a moment that should be cherished forever. Now let us talk about another hero of reason, a man whose life is practically a checklist of courage. This year's Freethinker of the Year award goes to none other than Arif Hussain. You may have heard his name before on this channel or elsewhere. If not, let me tell you why this story matters. Arif Hussain is known as the master of Exes. Why? Because he's an ex-Muslim, ex-communist, ex-Homeopath, and ex-doctor. One by one, he walked away from the identities and beliefs that shaped his life. Why? Because each time he discovered that what he believed in was either unscientific, harmful, or against humanist values. Arif began with homeopathy. He studied it for 5 years, practiced as a doctor, and built a career. Then the question started. The evidence didn't somehow add up. The science didn't hold. One by one, the cracks appeared until he could no longer pretend. Homeopathy was a sham. So he walked away. And he didn't stay silent. He spoke to the world against this pseudoscience. And what did the homeopathic community do in response? They stripped him of his degree. Not because he was guilty of malpractice, not because he harmed patients, but because he told the truth that homeopathy doesn't work. That is the punishment he got for honesty. But he didn't stop there. Once he had the courage to give up his profession, he turned the same critical eye on his other beliefs. He examined his political ideology, communism, and realized that too was flawed in practice, that it failed the test of reason and humanity. He let it go. Finally, he confronted the biggest pillar of all, religion. Islam had shaped his identity, his family, his entire upbringing. But once again, the evidence didn't hold. The claims crumbled under scrutiny. And so, with the same integrity, he relinquished that too. Think about the weight of those decisions. Walking away from a religion like Islam in Kerala is not just a personal choice, it's a social earthquake. Walking away from political affiliations that once gave you a sense of belonging is not just inconvenient, it is alienating. Walking away from a career as a doctor and a homeopath, something he studied and practiced for years, is not just risky, it is life-altering. One by one, he shed each belief system he once held dear. Not out of rebellion, not out of anger, but out of commitment to truth. Out of the courage to say, if it is false, I will not live by it. And that is exactly what he does today. Arif Hussain doesn't just walk away from falsehoods, he speaks against them. He raises awareness, warns others, and lights the path he once had to stumble through alone. Most people would have kept quiet, hidden their doubts, protected their livelihood. But Arif chose honesty over comfort, truth over security. He sacrificed everything society values for something society needs more desperately: integrity. That is why he is being honored as the Freethinker of the Year. When you see him on stage, don't just clap, stand. Because Arif Hussain shows us what it truly means to be free, choosing truth, even when it costs you everything. Arif Hussain's life proves that Freethought is not just a theory, it is a discipline, a way of living, a willingness to lose everything for the sake of truth. Now, let us talk about what you are actually going to experience when you step into Litmus 2025. From 8:30 a.m. sharp until well past sunset, the stage at the Rajiv Gandhi Indoor Stadium will never fall silent, not even for a minute. This isn't a conference you stroll into halfway. So get there at least half an hour early, because Litmus doesn't run on the infamous Indian stretchable time. It runs with the precision of an atomic clock. Once it starts, it doesn't wait for anyone. Trust me, you can correct your watch using the Litmus schedule. It is that punctual. This is a 12-hour intellectual roller coaster where every session builds on the last. Here's a glimpse of what awaits you. You will see Arif Hussain go head-to-head with a homeopath, followed by Liver Talk, shake the foundations of medicine, and Ramesh Pishardi bring humor and hard truths from cinema. You will hear YouTube's biggest science voices, watch fierce debates on caste and religion, dive into the origins of life, and even hear Gen Z share their vision for the future. There will be myth-busting, blasphemy, awards, and the ever-popular G-Non question and answer on evolution, where I will be stepping in as moderator. And to close it all, a global debate on Gaza before the lights dim and the DJ takes over. This is just a taste. Check the Litmus website for the full program, because every session is something you will want to witness. If you find yourself skipping lunch because you don't want to miss a moment, don't blame us. Stock up on calories in the morning, because from the first bell to the final beat, Litmus will feed your mind every single minute. Now let us talk about something crucial: registration. Registration is just rupees 480, and that covers everything: buffet lunch, tea, snacks, and most importantly, your seat at the world's biggest Freethought festival. But here is the risk. If you wait until the last moment, you may not even make it inside. In the past, we have seen crowds so massive that gates had to be shut. Would you want to be standing outside in the heat or rain whilst history is unfolding inside without you? Don't let that be a story this year. Register online right now. It guarantees your seat, helps the organizers prepare and keeps the day smooth for everyone. And what if you truly can't attend? Don't just step aside. Sponsor someone else. Give a ticket to a student, a young skeptic, or a close-sighted freethinker who can't afford it. Imagine the impact. You may not sit inside the stadium, but your contribution could change a life, spark a journey, and ripple through the movement long after the day is over. Litmus doesn't just need attendees. It needs believers in freedom, in evidence, in the future. Be part of it, one way or another. Details are available on the website of essenceglobal.com for sponsorship, donations, and sponsorship of tickets. Now about this video, every like, every comment, every share pushes this video into more feeds. That means more people hearing about Litmus, more people registering, more people showing up. So don't just watch, participate. Now let's get to the real question, the heart of this entire video. I have heard many people ask these questions. Why Litmus? Why celebrate atheism? Why should you come? Are you not copying religious festivals? Well, my answer is this. Humans are social beings. We crave connection. We need to gather, to celebrate, to feel part of something larger. But in our country, every festival, every celebration, every community event is tied to religion. If you are irreligious, if you are a freethinker, if you are an atheist, you are left out. That is why Litmus exists. It is the one day in the year where you don't have to hide. The one day you can stand tall and say without fear, yes, I am an atheist. Yes, I am free. I trust my own wings. For some, that single day of freedom is life-changing. Many who walk into Litmus as close-sighted atheists, afraid to tell their family, their friends, even their colleagues, walk out realizing that they are not alone, that there are thousands who think like them, thousands who share their questions, their doubts, their courage. And it is not just for atheists. If you are a believer who has doubts, or if you are undecided, if you are standing on the fence, Litmus is the safest place to explore. No one will judge you. You will see with your own eyes how freeing it is when people drop the chains of dogma. That is the personal why. Now, here is the bigger why. Litmus isn't just for us. It is for the generations to come. We are laying the foundation for a new kind of festival in India. Not one that divides people by religion, caste or ritual, but one that unites them in truth, compassion and reason. When young people see thousands celebrating not gods but ideas, not miracles but science, not rituals but freedom, they will realize there is another way to live, a freer way. That is how cultures shift. That is how history changes. And for that, visibility matters. Religious leaders often paint atheists as immoral, rootless, dangerous. Litmus flips that script. By organizing something this massive, we send a message loud and clear. Atheists are not invisible, not isolated, not silent. We are a community. We are a force and you are part of it. So what is in it for you? Everything. You gain community, you gain courage, you gain freedom, even if only for one day, to be exactly who you are without fear. That is why we conduct Litmus. That is why you should attend. That is why you should support it, even if you can't come yourself. And let me tell you this personally. I have been part of Litmus since it returned in 2022. Every single year, it left an imprint on me. Every single year, it has offered something new, something unforgettable. No other organization in India, or maybe even the world, has managed something of this scale. And it shows. Year after year, Litmus has drawn support from thinkers like Richard Dawkins, Lawrence Krauss, Mariam Namazi, Richard Carrier, Steven Pinker, and many more scientists, writers, and freethinkers who have come out in the open and supported Litmus. For me, Litmus isn't just a date on the calendar. It is a memory that stays. And this year, I want it to be yours too. So here it is. Litmus is not just an event. It is a declaration, a movement, a festival for the future. And here is the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a bloody atheist like us, or an agnostic, or even a believer with questions. Everyone is welcome. We don't shut doors, we open them. Because this isn't about keeping people out, it's about bringing more people in. So if you can attend, be there. Mark the date, 19th of October 2025. Don't hesitate. Don't postpone. Don't say maybe next year, because history doesn't wait. And if you cannot attend, don't let distance or circumstance stop you. Sponsor someone, donate, contribute, help another freethinker walk through those gates in your place. Let your support ripple through this movement. And here is something extra. Like this video and drop a comment telling me why you would want to attend Litmus, or why you think it matters. Let us set ourselves a goal. 1,000 likes and 500 comments in the next 72 hours. If we hit that, this video will explode through the algorithm and make Litmus unmissable. Litmus needs you. Can we do it? So hit that like, drop a comment and share this video. Don't just scroll, make some noise. Help push this message into more hands, more homes, more minds. Because every single person who registers, attends or supports is part of something larger, a declaration that science still matters, humanism still matters, reason still matters, that evidence still matters, that freedom still matters, but religions don't matter at all. So join us, be there, make this Litmus not just ours, but yours. See you at Litmus 2025. Let evidence lead.